Hello, everybody. This is JD. Okay, I've been listening to comments that you people are making about the Republican primary committee, about the Republican candidates, about the debates and everything, and none of you are happy. But yet there's nothing you guys are doing about it. Absolutely nothing. You don't like Mitt Romney, you don't like Newt Gingrich, you don't like Ron Paul, you don't like this person, you don't like that person. Anybody you like, they're too doggone burnt or have too much baggage, so they don't want to run because they don't want to drag their baggage through the world of the Democratic presidential election. Because all it's going to be is just dirt upon dirt, real dirty. Now, who can make a good candidate out of that? We know none of us likes Newt Gingrich. Probably said it wrong, but we all don't like it. We were all glad to see him go when he left Washington the first time. Why he thinks that the people who were glad to see him go would try to elect him back, I have no idea. Apparently, he can't learn. Now, what about Mitt Romney? Let's talk a little bit about him. He's too slow on his feet. That's what I'm going to say. He's too slow on his feet. I'm going to give you an example. Just one of many I can give you. A little while ago, he made a comment about insurances and how he likes to fire people. Next thing you hear in the news is how Mitt Romney's business would go into a business, tear it apart, fire people. Now, why did Mitt Romney try to defend that? That's what he did. Why didn't he just turn the words of the other people against them? Which can be easily done. Mitt Romney could have said, yes, one of the things I've done that wasn't in politics is I went into faltering, failing, useless companies that weren't working. And I went in there, I tore it apart, I made it a machine that did function, I made it streamlined, I made it work, and I fired the CEO. And I love firing the CEOs. When I get into Washington, I'm going to tear it apart, straighten it, streamline it down, reduce the cost, shrink the government down. Above all else, though, I'm going to love firing Obama. No, he couldn't do that. Fire Obama could have been his call. But because he's too slow on his feet, his people are not looking at what there is. Thing is, you got to turn the other people's words against them. Not try to explain yourself. And then he has a lot of shady money all over the place. That's not good for anybody. Especially with today's economy. People don't want to hear that. As soon as you doggone have shady money, you're part of the people that have been ripping us off for years upon years. You're part of the people that make this deficit so big. You're part of the people that hide their money from the government. So you don't stand there and say, oh, I'm honest, fair, and I believe, and then you turn around and have, too many back pockets. That's Mitt Romney. Nope. Ron Paul, there's no middle of the road for Ron Paul. There's no compromise. There's no nothing. He's just like Obama. This is the way we're going to do it, and you don't like it, well, then you're going to like it when you're done anyway. So I'm going to do it, and that's what you're going to get. And if that door don't get shut real fast. So bottom line is, that's what you get. And then the others are a little bit here telling you what you want to hear, and what you don't want to hear, they're not talking about. I mean, I listened to a definition all of them gave for when does a person have rights? And they were basically, when they conceive, no, I would say at the time they come out of their parents, they have rights. Until then, it's between their parents, their moral standards, their ministers, and lawyers, and whatever else. The individual right is when the individual is an individual. Now, what do I feel and how do I feel about abortions? I'm completely against them for any reason whatsoever. I don't believe in abortions. I believe they're wrong. My daughter Samantha would not be here if we would have listened to all the doctors yelling, "Oh, you're kind of old. She's kind of old. That child's going to be messed up." And Samantha would not exist. Come here, Sam. Sam, come here. Come here. I don't care. See this little girl? Kind of stop moving. Look at the camera. This little girl, take your glasses off, would not exist if we would have listened to the doctors. They took an ultrasound. We looked at her little face on that ultrasound. And plain and simple, I asked Barbara, how can you kill that? And she said, I can't. And I say no. And that's how Sam is there. Sam is my answer. Don't ask me other questions. Sam is my answer when you talk about abortion. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to doggone give you a dance or a dance, song and dance or anything like that. Sorry. This is it. I'll show you the way I live. And then you can decide from that. As far as separation of church and state, I believe that the federal government has no right to say anything as far as our religious beliefs. And I'll be doggone if I'm going to let anyone in the federal government tell me where or when I can pray. That's between me, God, and my personal beliefs. Do I go to church on every Sunday? No, I don't. Well, do I go to church a lot? No, I don't. Do I pray a lot? Every single day. Sorry, people. These are my personal beliefs. And I hold them strong to me. But I'm not going to force them on any one of you. Because I don't believe that I have that right. Neither does the federal government. At the same time, though, we must respect the right of the atheist who says, I don't want to acknowledge God. Yes. But that will be done in restraint. Personally, I feel that any federal court, because the basis of our judicial system is on the Ten Commandments, should be able to. The only thing is they cannot print out first 3 commandments. Those would have to be 1, 2, and 3, and then from honor thy father and mother on can be printed out, because that's where our judicial system comes in. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not want thy neighbors, on and on. I can go through the whole Ten Commandments if you want. But the first 3 will be shown as numbers, and only numbers, and then 4 through 10 can be written out, because that is the basis of our judicial system. That is not acknowledging any religion or anything else. This is things I feel. And that is accepting and acknowledging that there are people who don't believe in God. Therefore, 1, 2, and 3 will be written as just 1, 2, and 3. And yet those who believe in God will, and the Ten Commandments, what 1, 2, and 3 says, will know what 1, 2, and 3 says. So, there's my separation of church and state. We will acknowledge that there is. Now, when it comes for Planned Parenthood, education, I feel, is great, and above all else, is needed. But never should a federal penny ever go towards an abortion. Now, what am I saying there? Why am I saying that? Because there's so many people like me who don't believe and will not support abortion. And if you could take my share of that penny off that penny, I have no problem. Because then I will not contribute. But you can't separate my share of that penny and other people who disbelieve. So therefore, none. Now, I'm not saying ban abortion. I'm saying that the federal government should not and could not pay it. But if the people want to, that's their choice. No one in the government should tell a woman or a man they can't have abortion on a child. That's between them, their God, their maker, their bank account, and their lawyers. That's it. Shouldn't be the federal government paying for it. Well, what about the poor? What about the poor? We don't have a class system. We have one system. Therefore, I'm saying the saying goes for the rich as go for the poor. Well, it's more readily available to the rich. Yeah, and they can buy big fancy cars. They can buy 2, 3, 4 cars. They can buy jet planes. They can buy yachts. Does that mean the federal government has to buy jet planes for everybody, has to buy yachts for everybody, and buy 5, 6 cars for everybody? Nope. Same rule applies. Sorry, if that logic doesn't work. Believe me. Like I said, no money from anybody who disagrees with abortions, that pays taxes, should go towards the act. And that's it. Bottom line. No ands, no ifs, no buts. But if anyone thinks they can separate it, then I'm going to tell you, I'm first in line. I want my cars, I want my yachts, I want my personal jet planes, like all the rich have. I shouldn't be deprived those things just because I'm poor. Look, I'm not traveling around the country campaigning because I cannot afford it. Otherwise, I'd be tearing a hole in everybody right now, listening to things I say. Now, look at what you got. You're not happy with any of it. And it's not going to change unless you change it. That's why I'm telling you, send me your signatures. Your name, your address, your state. You print it, you sign it, you give me your address, you put it on a piece of paper and mail it to me. Go out, get signatures for me. You've got to do it the same way that they're doing it, but I cannot pay you. You got to do it. The only way we're going to make a difference is we together. No other way. We together. Take responsibility. This is your government. Somewhere, sometime, you must understand you are responsible for this government. Each and every one of you, including those who say, well, I don't vote. Because above all else, you who do not vote has created this mess more than anybody else. Because you have given full approval to the federal government to do whatever it wants. To do abortions. To doggone pay rich people more and more money. To listen to lobbyists. To do what lobbyists wants and ignores the average everyday American. That's what the people who don't vote does. They approve all that. And I could give you a list longer. Start wars, kill people. Do you want me to go on and on? By you not voting, you approved of everything. You could turn your head, you turn your back, say whatever you want. But by you not, you have approved. Bottom line. That's the truth, people. You can deny it all you want. So, you're either going to have to take responsibility for our government and take control and do the job we need to put the people back in control, and I will do that. Or do nothing, sit around, do this claiming I don't vote because it said this, or I don't do that because, or I don't get involved in politics because. And you are the ones who leave it the way it is. Thank you. This is JD.